Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Darin the chef, and we're going to be making some mac and cheese for the life of yes. So, real simple mac and cheese, but you can overcomplicate it if you like. But we're going to do a real simple mac and cheese, and we're going to start with our basic ingredients. So, what you're going to have over here is you're going to have your butter, 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 4 tablespoons of flour. We have our spice mix here. That is a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of paprika, and then I also threw in about a half a teaspoon or so of dry mustard powder. 2 cups milk, 2 cups shredded cheddar cheese, got a little extra Monterey Jack in there, just to bring a little something extra to the party. And we got, this is about 6 cups of cooked large elbow macaroni. I'm not going to show you how to cook macaroni because if you can't do that, you need to go watch another video first and then come back. So I've got pan heating. So it's on medium heat, pan's nice and hot. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the 4 tablespoons of butter in the pot and get it melted. Now the pan's on medium heat, the butter's going to melt pretty quick. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the heat just a little bit to, let's say, medium-high. So we can get that butter cooking. Get it melted down quick. And start to bubble up a little bit. What's a pepper in there? Alright. So butter's melted. You're going to see it start to bubble at the bottom of the pan. It's going to start to want to come up. You see little bubbles forming. So we're going to take our 4 tablespoons of flour and we're going to gently shake that in. Don't dump it all in one big go. Gently sprinkle it in and you see it starts to sizzle as soon as it hits. So what we're doing now is called making a roux. Very classic French technique. Equal parts fat and flour. So you could use olive oil, you could use lard, you could use beaver fat if you want, or duck fat. Why not? We're going to cook that roux and it's going to keep bubbling and bubbling and bubbling. We're going to let it cook. We're going to cook that raw flour taste out of it. It's bubbling nice. I'm going to reduce the heat a little bit, just down to medium. Keep stirring. Waft it up with your hand a little bit. You want it to smell kind of toasty, maybe a little nutty. It's a sign of a good roux that it's starting to cook and cook out that raw flour. And always stir. If you let it sit too long, it'll start to burn in patches, start to get a little too brown. And then you're just going down the road of burnt roux. Alright, it's smelling nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add those spices. Now there's no salt in this. So I'm going to add a little salt to this as well. So we're going to add in our spices, garlic, onion, paprika, mustard. Fat pinch of salt, about a half a teaspoon. And a few cranks of black pepper. And get that all in there. Keep stirring. Let it cook down for another minute. Now if you see that roux has changed color, it's mostly the paprika that's doing that at this point, but it's got a nice kind of a yellow orangish glow. It's already getting some color to our sauce. Smells nice and roasty. Smell that paprika and that garlic kind of cooking off in there. Alright. I think we're about ready for the magic. Whisk. Heat up, back to medium-high. You're going to watch that roux bubble, bubble, bubble. And you're going to take that milk and you're going to start pouring it in. Whisking, whisking, whisking as you're pouring it in. You see that okay there? Camera 2? Mm-hmm. All right, excellent. Whisk that in good. Make sure if you got any bits of roux on the side of the pan, you can see there. I'm going to try to get those off and down into the milk. This is going to form the base of our sauce. This is what the French would call making a bechamel. Bechamel. It is one of the 5 mother sauces of French cooking. Look it up. So, we're going to keep stirring this. We're going to keep whisking. You want to keep an eye on this. This is when you don't want to walk away from this dish, okay? Because what's going to happen is that milk is going to start to boil, and as it starts to boil, the roux is going to thicken the milk. But you don't want to walk away from it, because if you've ever had milk boil over on the stovetop, we all know it's a disaster. So, we're going to stay here. We're going to raise that heat just a little bit more. Not quite on high, but dang close. It's going to sit tight. I'm going to wait for a couple bubbles to start forming on the edges. We're just going to be patient. We're going to be patient. Camera 2, can you see that? It's starting to slowly, looks like it's starting to sort of expand. It's starting to boil a little bit. Just starting to come up. Keep our eye on it, because once that starts to boil, you're going to want to reduce that heat real quick. All right, starting to get some bubbles. And you can just see as I run the whisk through it that that's starting to thicken up pretty significantly. All right, so we're up to a boil, just starting to come up to a boil. We're going to reduce that heat down to medium. Give it another stir. Make sure everything's nice and combined. And we're going to reduce that heat down to low. I'm going to keep stirring and actually pull it off the heat for just a second. Sort of let it calm down. All right, I think we're good with the whisk. So this is where you can see the result of your hard work so far. See how thick that is, and you can just go, that's a sauce. That's the start of a sauce. So, next thing's next. We're going to return that pot to the low heat. We're going to take our 2 cups of cheddar cheese. Now, I recommend buying a block of cheese and then shredding it on a grater. If you have one at home, it's just a better option because, well, what they don't tell you is that really convenient pre-shredded cheese usually has potato starch on it or other additives to keep it from clumping. And that's just, you don't need that extra BS. So we're going to add that 2 cups of cheese in. And we're going to stir. Keep stirring. It's going to be nice and thick. And you're going to see that cheese melts in there. And that sauce is going to be kind of like velvet. Nice and smooth. Let's go ahead and add just a little bit of that Monterey Jack that I mentioned because I feel like bringing a little something extra to the party. I'm only going to throw in maybe a half a cup. Maybe a half a cup. These are 2 cup containers, by the way. Heat's still on low. We're not going to turn the heat up anymore. Now, we've got our pasta ready. Like I said, I pre-cooked this pasta. This is large elbow mac. You can make this dish straight in the pot. You can cook the macaroni in the pot, drain it, leave the pasta in the colander while you're making the sauce in the same pot. But since we're doing sort of a thing, doing TV magic, pasta's already made. So like I said, this is about 6 cups of elbow mac, and you've got your lovely soft velvety sauce. Oh, it smells so good. Good amount of garlic in there. You can always cut back on the garlic if you're a vampire. We're gonna dip that pasta in there. Give it a good stir. Alright, put the last of the pasta in. I'm going to keep it on the heat for just a few more seconds. Now, and that is pretty much it. There you've got a nice big pot of mac and cheese, homemade. You made your own sauce. And it's much better than the stuff you get out of a blue box. Now, the best part. You're gonna eat. So, You can do it. Mac and cheese.